It reconnected now. So
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
for the audience out there, the previous owner was named Grumsh, the King of the Orcs, and that's where we're at now.
Destroying these things would be an exercise in futility, but leaving them there would equally as dangerous.
Well, we can storm away on the ship for now.
Oh, Lagon would take out a cloth to walk over to Kaz and wrap the blades and then stick them in the bag of holding.
As Lagan does that, Kaz kind of like raises a hand, like he turns his hand to kind of raise him and tell him to wait. This isn't the kind of weapon you lock away. This sort of thing will call until such time as it finds a wielder. And he places them down on the deck and casts away the cloths that he was holding it with. He picks up the blades again, this time barehanded. I will take this burden. For such evil to be tempered for even the slightest bit of good, it needs a mind unassailable to temper itself against.
Can't talk about your mind being unassailable. Certainly the arrogance of it, the audacity to end up making the claim, however.
It's egoism, sure. But such mental rigors is what I'm trained for. And if these are to do even an ounce of good in our purpose, temptation must be... the chance of temptation must be swept away to the wind, instead tempered with something else. And so I will temper them, to the best of my ability. And if I happen to go a little insane in the process, and he looks all of them, if I go insane, then kill me.
You have my word.
I hope you know what you're getting yourself into.
Tharizdun is an ancient enemy. A forgotten enemy. Not to me. and he would pick the blades up by the handle and just sit there on the deck, cross-legged, eyes closed.
Lagan will begin flying the ship back out to their route so that they can make their way to Drakefast.
At least we were only delayed by about an hour or two.
I'd say 4.
And so, yeah, surely about an hour into that trip, there'll probably be the signs, grunts of exertion and the signs of sweating as those, rather painfully bind.
And Lagan will be keeping a very close eye on you.
Arya wants to talk to Kaz.
Before they fully attune?
No, it doesn't really matter. She just generally wants to talk to Kaz.
Yeah, yeah.
So when in any moment that they're alone.
So I do have a quick moment that I need to spend with our good friend Kaz.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Darkness. Painful, and it takes you. You sit there, communing for an hour, attuning, letting whatever magic lies within these blades sweep over you. Your mind empties for a moment until you're greeted in this lonesome place, this darkness, by a silhouette. A burly man, tall. And whatever sourceless light is in this place for this brief moment, you see an orcish man. Long tusks, small tuft of hair, burly, but chains. The same sort of chains, black chains, that you have affixed to your arms now. You made the choice.
I did.
Then know what that choice means. You are bound to these blades. Nothing can set your soul free. Forever will your soul rot until there is nothing left. That is the fate that I chose, and that you have chosen now. In service to destroy that our enemies. The Dawn Father, the Wild Mother, and the Soul Forger. You are a weapon of war. Nothing more, nothing less. This is your last moment to turn back, dragon.
It's funny that you say that, but not in a amusing fashion. And Kaz's eyes look up. Old King One Eye.
You notice he has both eyes.
Oh, not so One Eye. At least right now. Sir gave his soul to oblivion. That's why we're talking, right?
Indeed.
Yet you did not have the agency to pick your own enemies.
I was but a weapon to be wielded. In wars you have no recollection of. Forgotten.
As much has. As much will be. But therein lies the thing about chaos. Its potential is an infinite thing. Unbreaking, unyielding. And yet, ever devolving back into order when it so finds its purpose. These blades will be aimed to I see fit. Not more, not less.
The arrogance of a dragon, so true. Fine. Make your choice. And we'll see at the end of it all whether you join me or find yourself at the false idols that call themselves gods and weep.
I will not cry for my own choices. I will not beg succor nor forgiveness. But nor will I submit. You said I was a dragon. Arrogant, but true. That in that truth I set my law. And my law, for better or worse, comes to these blades, shall be absolute. Maybe I'll see you. Maybe I won't. But if I do, It'll be my choice down the road. Nobody else's. Not yours. Not theirs. Certainly not Tharizdun's.
It just continues to laugh as it disappears into the darkness. And again, you are left alone with your thoughts. And before you know it, the hour is up. And in an instant, these chains become fused to you. As if interlocking with your bones, as if becoming part of your flesh. For the sake of mechanics, I will give you a card to read. Let me see, did I actually... Did not finish the card, but for the purposes of future engagements, for now, they are a +1 weapon, and they have a 10-foot attack reach.
Okay.
But you remain cursed permanently. Anyone who would be able to detect magic would be able to detect a curse on you.
Okay.
And that curse is uncurable by any means, save for a wish spell.
Okay.
All right. Back on the boat. Arya, you said you wanted to have a conversation with our dear and lovely Kaz. Just as these chains have melded with his flesh, that is the state in which you see him at the moment.
She doesn't necessarily interrupt him in the middle of his meditation, but she does go over, sit beside him. I imagine he's probably stationed to overlook the sea in some way. Where is Kaz on the boat?
He's sitting atop, basically the main deck.
Okay. Well, if he's on the ground, Arya's just gonna join him, sit cross-legged beside him. Just look over the horizon quietly for a moment. And she looks down at the chains that have bound themselves to his arms. She flashes a furrowed brow. Does it hurt?
No. Not particularly. It's cold.
On the inside or the outside?
Both.
Hmm. There's a lot about you I feel is very strange. You continue to adventure with us. I know we invited you, certainly. And I do enjoy your company. I just find it interesting because you seem to have such a history. You mention it vaguely all the time. Some discrete knowledge about creatures and beings and entities and experiences and travels and adventures. I guess I'm just confused if you have this, all of that.
It's difficult to explain. Imagine, if you will, the echo of an experience. It is something that we specifically of the Gem Dragonborn experience. Others tend to can as well, but we're most predisposed to it. That we see things, we taste things, we touch things without ever having seen them, not physically. But yet there is an understanding, innate, intuitive. Pair this with my actual travels and the reading that I have done, and it makes for a wisdom beyond years, and one that transcends even physical limitations at times.
Is it because of these echoes that you seem to know things from far before now? Or is it because you're actually that old? Who are you, Kaz?
It's an interesting question that you pose. Who, indeed, is Causal Crixtus? What legacy does that name hold? What legacy will it hold in the future? Will someone even remember such a thing? Will some Gem Dragonborn happen into the legacy of my memory experiences? These are only questions that can be answered with time. But... and he holds up one of the blades. If I am known for anything, it will be the purging of Tharizdun's chaos. There is no dispelling or quelling a magic such as this. Only reshaping, tempering, reforging. And eventually, that is what I will do with these. But I'm sure that won't be before they taste their share of flesh and drink their share of soul.
I see. You see, she kind of seems a little disappointed with these answers that you've provided. I don't know if I'm necessarily... You'll have to forgive me, but I don't think I'm necessarily comforted by that. Everyone can think themselves above God. And it's easy to do so. Last I checked, gods can be made. But whether or not you're actually above one or its will is... I think it's more complicated than a simple wish. A want or a desire or a pledge.
Of course. It would be a fool's errand to think that simple platitude, a pledge, an oath, make something so highly spoken, something so a task so mental, because that's not lost on me. It does not execute the task. So, on that, Arya, all I can ask you to do is watch as I climb.
She nods quietly. For a moment, she seems to absent-mindedly, or perhaps thoughtfully, rather thoughtfully, fiddle with something around her chest before she gets up. And she puts her hand down to you to help you up.
And he would let one of the blades kind of dangle there a little bit. I'm guessing there's a way to make these, you know, not have to hang there
Yeah, you could.
when I'm at a combat.
Yeah, you can fashion some kind of like back harness.
Yeah, if they didn't come with one.
There would have been one that came with it. So
Yeah. So he'd slot them into the harness and take Arya's hand and rise to his feet.
and they're still kind of wrapped around your arm, and kind of have that chain that looses to be able to put them up. You notice that it doesn't restrict your movement at all. You actually feel very much like as if they're not there. You could use your arms as per normal. You would imagine that they would have been a bit more restrictive in your movement, but you're as nimble as ever.
You know, they don't weigh anything. Chains. But I suppose that's kind of the point, isn't it?
I suppose so. Are they all around your arm, or can you make more appear? She is just kind of like observing you, Kaz, and she walks around you, with her head tilted down, and it's a little silly as she makes a motion, does a whole entire circle around you to check out how the chains are working, if they're actually like inside your flesh or anything like that.
Oh yeah, they have dug themselves into the flesh near to bone, where it's almost as if there wasn't those little bulging chain that you could see through his skin, you wouldn't hardly know they were there. They've become part of him.
How strange.
It is a little odd.
I sure wish someone was here who could explain the magic. Well, I'm wishing you. Don't worry about the birds. I'm wishing you. Good luck with that. Whatever you traded for it. Whatever burden you bear.
Thank you. My current solace is that it is better me than any.
Perhaps. It might someday be that those blades drink us.
That's why I said I hope that day never comes. Does. Then put me down. For if they do find themselves pointed in your direction, my mind will have been gone and I will have failed.
And she nods. Yeah, she has a sullen expression. And she almost seems like very reserved now. Her eyes continue flitting back to the blades before she returns back to the cabin.
All right. Leaving Cause alone with his thoughts.
Charles would take a
go ahead.
Charles would take a deep breath and simply look out over the horizon. Look down at his arms before heading inside himself.
All right. Well, what about the rest of you? Anything you're doing before you make it to Drakefast?
Question.
Question.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I imagine with Lagon standing at the helm with a passive perception of 24 could overhear this conversation.
Yes, indeed.
Lagon is keeping a very wary eye on Kaz.
Who eventually does go below deck.
Stewing in his thoughts. This man has given his life and to just pick up these blades. The arrogance to presume that he can control his own fate and subvert the desires of the God that controls and imbues these powerful weapons. It's just astounding. There's and fully believes that at some point we will have to kill him. Sooner rather than later, potentially.
Potentially. Kurobe, were you going to do something?
Yes, I was going to go seek out Vanya.
Vanya would be in her and Arya's room, just kind of absent-mindedly playing the guitar.
Would you be alone, or?
Depends on if Arya came back to the room or not, but
Arya probably would have. She honestly would have just been unspokenly cuddled up right into Vanya.
yep.
She's just processing.
Maybe the tune on the guitar is a little bit more upbeat to try and cheer her up. Whatever might be plaguing Arya's mind at the moment. So
I'm
that's
going
what you
to
would
knock
find,
on the
Kurobe.
door. Yeah, I will knock on the door.
And she'll call out to come in.
And Kurobe would open the door, and I'm not interrupting, am I?
No. Something you need?
I had a request of you two, if you do not mind doing me a favor.
What's that?
And I'm going to kind of, if Zephyr's on the ground, I'm going to kind of go over and sit down next to Zephyr and start petting him. And I want to learn something, though it's not easy for me. Our new friend, I can't understand her. I was wondering if you guys could teach me to understand her.
The most I could teach you was the Elvish I know. It's... Her Elvish and ours is similar enough for basic understanding. But...
Full
I could
disclosure.
teach...
I'm so sorry. I don't actually fully know Elvish. Maybe this is a bad time to say it.
No, it's fine. I assumed everybody but me knew it.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
You know what?
Well, then we might
I've
be
been
in the same
teaching
boat.
Lagon. I can start teaching you two at the same time.
I don't need to learn. I've never been good at writing and reading, but at least being able to speak would be good enough for me.
Yeah, I can do that.
I have trouble when it comes to words. I'm trying to read.
This we are aware of.
It's kind of embarrassing in my old age.
You've lived a far different life. That's all that is.
Mhm. But I would appreciate it, and if I can ever teach you something that I know.
Maybe. But next time I sit down with Lagon to him, I'll come grab the both of you, and she's gonna glance down at Arya. And we can work on that.
Thank you. I don't like not being able to understand. I don't like not being able to tell her things. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you have to rely on me or Kaz to translate over.
Yes. The other night, she was angry. I could tell that much, but I couldn't understand the words she said.
Angry?
Yes. I want to be there for everybody. As much as I can, I'm trying to be a shield for you all. But I also want to be there in any way that I can.
Oh. You're a good person, Kurobe. Glad that you somehow found your way back to us.
Oh. I'm glad for that. If you don't mind, I'd like to just sit here and pet Zephyr for a while and listen to you play.
I don't mind. Arya, you mind?
I don't. Arya will cuddle back into Vanya and just wrap her arms around Vanya's waist.
And Kurobe's just going to lean back against the bed, and I imagine Zephyr's like half in his lap, just petting him and...
Yeah, he's being very lazy right now.
Alongside the music, you probably hear the thump of the tail hitting the...
Keeping the bass beat.
Very lazily.
Yep.
He's just kind of thunk, thunk.
Kurobe's just going to relax.
All right. Well, that just leaves Alira. Alira, what are you up to at the moment?
At this exact moment, Alira is considering what just transpired.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that Kaz has decided to pick up this, for lack of a better term, forbidden weapon has ended up making a bit of an issue. This concept of something attached to something so vile and then asking to see what good can come of it. I don't philosophize much on the concepts of good and evil. To a fly, a spider is completely evil. To gain power, well, we consume all manners of things, plants, animals, fungi, doesn't much matter. And as such, we are emboldened by it. And yet, in the things that I have seen, we end up with asking ourselves what is the price of this power? Because we've witnessed what can clearly be called evil. I earlier stated that Kaz is engaged in an act of hubris. That perhaps his ego thinking that he can obtain something that is damned and blessed by the realms of gods. What price does it cost? Perhaps he will be able to bear the burden. Perhaps not. But there is something that doesn't sit right with me. This feels unnatural. Something deplorable and divine. I'm no scholar of the gods, no. I only recently gazed upon stars, though I have heard of them. They say that they are the eyes of the gods looking down upon us, and even at night I wonder if Loth would be among them. In our own histories, of the dark times. And I'm left to question. Perhaps it's because Cogs is more suited for the weapon. A pragmatist's approach. But who here amongst our lot truly understand this undeath that is toyed about with? That would be me. And yet, how do I even begin to offer counsel? I feel a danger in our midst. Something doesn't seem right with just what has transpired, and I'm worried.